Vedanta Swami Niti Name. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini. Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna. Thank you all the devotees for joining us. And please give me your blessings. And I'm going to speak about a very great personality. I just got cut off. I couldn't hear, what Prabhuji was saying. I don't know whether other devotees could hear or not. Got cut off. So we are still discussing about Yamaraj Prabhuji, na? Mr. Yamaraj.
Yes,
Okay, so yeah, okay, so we know about the Mahajanas. How many Mahajanas are there once again?
12 Mahajanas.
12 Mahajanas. 12 Mahajanas. And actually for me, Yamaraj is one of the most important ones. Why do you think Yamaraj is the most important one? Not for me, but everyone else.
Because he gives the punishment to the sinful people.
Yeah, because he gives this punishment, and also he is one whom we have already met many times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So there's something happening on the screen, some screenshot. Is it just normal, probably? Hare Krishna. So yes, Yamaraj is a personality whom we have seen many times before. Can you believe that?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes.
So if you look at the other Mahajanas, we have the list of 12 Mahajanas. Of course, in the first one, we have Swayambhu, Narado, Shambhu. Is there any guarantee that we have seen Brahmaji before?
No.
No. So Brahmaji is the first one. He is known as Swayambhu. And the next one is Narada. Is there any guarantee that we have seen Naradji before?
No.
No, there's no, we're not sure whether we have seen Naradji before or not, or we have met Naradji. Of course, we have read his instructions from the scriptures and his nice preaching, and we know who he is, but no one knows whether they have met Naradji before or not. And the next one is Shambhu. How many of us have met Shambhuji?
No one.
We don't know. So, and then we have Kumar, Kapilo, Manu. Kumar, the 4 Kumaras, of course, the Kumaras, it's mentioned that they go to hear Bhagavatam from whom? Go to hear the Bhagavatam from? From Lord Shankarshan. From Lord Shankarshan, the 4 Kumaras hear the Bhagavatam. So when this Kumar, Kapil Bhagavan, again is this incarnation of the Lord. Manu Maharaj. Have we met Swayambhu Manu before?
No.
No, there is no guarantee, or we don't know. And Prahlad, Janak, Bhishma. Have we met any one of them?
No.
Balir, Vyasakir, Vayam. Bali Maharaj. And Vyasaki. Bali Maharaj and Vyasaki. Vyasaki is who's Vyasaki?
Sukadeva Goswami?
Sukadeva Goswami. And Vayam, who's Vayam? So who's speaking here? Yamaraj. We are the ones. He's saying we. So that means Yamaraj is included. So, but we know this is Brahma's, like if we look at this universe, Brahma has finished more than half his life. And Brahma lived for how many years in total? What's the lifespan of Brahmaji?
4.32 billion years.
311 billion and trillion and 40 billion years.
Yeah, 311 trillion 40 billion years. That's how long Brahma lives. And Brahma has finished half his lifespan, which is in this universe only, the Brahma has lived for how many years? More than
half.
More than half of that. So that's quite a lot. More than 155 trillion. So trillion years he has lived already. And how many times we have taken our births? Millions of times. So do you think we have not gone to Yamaraj's abode before?
Yes, we have been there.
Yeah, we would have got delivered by now if we had not. So we have gone to Yamaraj's abode. We have met Yamaraj many, many times. So Yamaraj is a most important personality to know for all of us. All of us. He's the most important and most relevant personality for all of us, especially for me, because there's a lot of chance that I have to meet him again. And with all the sinful activities, that we have done in my life. So Yamaraj, and I consider myself one of the suitable candidates to meet him. So he's the most relevant personality for all of us, and he's a Mahajan. So it's a Mahajan, and we know that we know quite a lot about him from the scriptures. One of the things that we know is he has got great parentage. He has got great, he's coming from a great family. So if we look at the current Yamaraj, this current Yamaraj, because we know that Yamaraj position is always changing. Isn't it true? Yamaraj's position is always changing. Every Manvantar, we have a new Yamaraj. In every Manvantar, we have a new Yamaraj. So this is which Manvantar? First, second, or third, or fourth, or fifth, sixth. This is the seventh Manvantar, correct? This is the seventh Manvantar, Swayambhu Manvantar. Not Swayambhu Manvantar, but Vaivashvat Manvantar. And what do you know about his family? What do you know about Yamaraj's family?
Prabhu, his sister is Yamuna.
Yes, very nice. Her sister is Yamuna Devi.
Yeah.
And Yamuna Devi is a consort of
Lord Krishna.
She is one of the wives of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna has got 16,108 wives. So the first wife that Lord Krishna got married to is Rukmini. The second one is Jambavati. The third one is Satyabhama. And yes, correct. Thank you, Prabhuji, Damodar Daspur. And so yes, so that's the third one, and then the fourth one is Yamuna Devi. And of course, we know that the other wives of Lord Krishna, the prominent ones, were four others, who are Satya or Nagnijiti, and Bhadra, and who else? Two others, Lakshmana and
Mitra Brinda.
Correct. Yeah. So those are the 8 principal wives of Lord Krishna, and of course then 16,000 others, the princesses who were kidnapped by Bhaumasura. And so those are the 16,100, and out of that Yamuna Devi is one of them. So Yamaraj's sister is Yamuna Devi, and who is the brother-in-law?
Lord Krishna.
Lord Krishna. So we can see how great Yamaraj is. He has got a brother-in-law who is the Supreme Lord. And what else do we know? And Prabhuji, as Damodar Prabhu said, that he's the son of Surya Dev. Yes, he's the son of Surya Dev. So Surya Dev and Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he's son of Surya Dev, of course. Yamaraj is the son of Surya Dev, and Yamuna Dev is also a daughter of Surya Dev. And who is Surya Dev? How is Surya Dev connected to Lord Krishna?
It's a father-in-law of Krishna.
Surya Dev is a disciple of Krishna and also father-in-law of Krishna. Yes, correct. Yeah. Surya Dev is a father-in-law of Krishna and also disciple of Krishna. Imam Vivashvate Yogam Proktavana Humavya Vivashvan Manave Praha Manurikshvatave Abravet. Yes. And of course, the sons, sun and the moon are considered to be the eyes of the Lord as well. Yes, thank you, Damodar. So, yes, we have Krishna is the brother-in-law of Yamaraj, and Krishna is the father's
Guru Maharaj?
Father's Guru Maharaj, correct. Father's Guru Maharaj, correct. Yes. Anything else that you know about his parentage or about him? About his family? Sister, we know, and we know about her father. And what else do we know?
He was born in Kuru dynasty.
Yeah. So he was born in
Kuru dynasty.
Kuru dynasty.
As Bidur.
Yeah, so yes, that's another thing that we know about Yamaraj. So Yamaraj is sometimes taking a break from his activities. So we know that he's looking after the people who need punishment. So he gives punishment to people, and he was scared to become Vidur. That's correct. So we know that. Why was he cursed? Who was he cursed by? Who cursed him? He was cursed by. He was cursed
Mandavya Muni.
Mandavya Rishi, correct. Mandavya Rishi, and we know that. So the story is given. This katha is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam, but Srimad Bhagavatam does not give the details. But Mahabharata gives the details of the birth of Vidur. We know that Vidur. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So you can keep your phone on mute. Only when you are speaking, you can unmute your phone and then speak. Otherwise, we'll have too much of background noise. So yes, Vidur was actually Yamaraj's incarnation. So we know that there was a Mandavya Rishi, and Mandavya Rishi had been in his hermitage, and at that time, what happened is some thieves came into his ashram, and the police or the soldiers were trying to catch them, and they got into the ashram. And at that time, Mandavya Rishi was in the ashram, and all the soldiers came and asked Mandavya Rishi where those thieves had gone. So, but Mandavya Rishi did not say anything. Why did Mandavya Rishi not say anything?
He was doing tapasya.
Yeah, he was doing tapasya, correct. Anything else? According to
We can't hear you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, can you unmute yourself? Can't hear you.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. I
Yes,
got
Prabhuji, here you can. Here you can.
Can hear you now.
I got unmuted. I don't know how. So yes, did you all hear me? What we were discussing? So we were discussing about Mandavya Rishi. So Mandavya Rishi was in his ashram, and then what happened is the soldiers, they came running behind the thieves, and the thieves had hidden in the ashram. So Mandavya Rishi was asked by the soldiers, but Mandavya Rishi did not say anything. Why did he not say anything? Because he had taken a vow of silence, Maun Vrat. So that was, he had his hands up according to Mahabharata, and he was performing his austerities, severe austerities. And when they asked him, he did not say anything. And then they tried looking in the ashram, and they found that the thieves were hiding there inside the ashram. So what they did was they caught the thieves, and they found all the items, the stolen items. They took all the items, and then they took to the king, and then the king gave the punishment. So king gave the punishment, and the punishment was that he will be thrown into a sharp lance, like a suli. And then what happened is they did that to him, and also all the others who were caught, all the thieves were given the same punishment. And then what happened is when he came, like when those people who were looking after that place where the punishment was given, they came to check, they found that he was still alive, and he had not died. And what he was doing, actually, is mentioned in the Mahabharata. At night, he would call by his yogic powers, he would call all the people to that place, and he will talk about the Lord. So he will be sitting on the lance, or the very sharp suli, or whatever it is called, and he would be speaking about the Lord. And he never died. He was still there. He was still alive. And those people the soldiers went and reported to the king that this rishi is still alive. He's not died. And then the king realized that he had made a mistake. And so the king comes, and then he releases him, says, you can go. But then the thing is, that sharp object had already gone into his body, so the sharp object was cut from outside. And so still he was keeping that sharp object in the body, partly in the body, and that's why it's known as Ani Mandavya or something like that. This is another name. And he still performed so many austerities, and then he was able to take control of the different directions, and he could even go to different places. And so because he had control of all the directions, he could go to different places, different planets. He went to Yamaraj, Mandavya Rishi went to Yamaraj and questioned him, why did you give me such kind of punishment? For what offense? What kind of sin had I performed in my life that I had to suffer in this way? And then Yamaraj said, what did Yamaraj say? That you had, with the sharp object, you had pierced the
Insects.
patinga insect, and therefore you got this punishment. And then Mandavya Rishi asked, what time was this? How old was I when this happened? So, and then Yamaraj said you were he did not give the age, but said Bal Avastha. So Bal Avastha means you are young, you are a child. So, and then he said, this is not appropriate. You gave me punishment for something that I had done when I was only a child. So now I'm cursing you that you will become a
Sudrasan.
Sudrasan. You will become a Sudrasan. And also, I am increasing the age, according to Mahabharata, I'm increasing the age from the age when one becomes responsible to take the reactions of one's sins. So I'm changing the age from 12 to
14 years.
14 years. So I'm changing this. So that was the case. And then we know that this king Vichitra Virya had died. You know, that there was no one to rule in the Kuru dynasty. Of course, there were so many vows, like Bhishma had taken a vow, so Bhishma wouldn't beget children. And then what happened is Satyavati requested, Vichitra Virya had died, and Chitrangad had been killed by another person, Gandharva named Chitrangad. So Vichitra Virya, those two sons, both died. And those were the sons of Satyavati and Maharaj Shantanu. And there was no one to take up the position of the king. So there was such a crisis. And then we know that Mother Satyavati asked Vyasdev to beget children in the wives of Vichitra Virya. And the wives of Vichitra Virya are
Amba, Ambalika, and
Ambalika and Ambika.
Ambika and Ambalika, because not Amba. Amba refused to marry Vichitra Virya. We know that. And then we know that Amba had her choice. So what happened is later on, she performed austerities, and there's a lot of story after that. And then she became the cause of Bhishma's death. And Ambika and Ambalika, they were married to Vichitra Virya. And Ambika was one of the wives, and the second was Ambalika. So Vyasdev was approached by the mother Satyavati, because how was Vyasdev related to Satyavati?
Satyavati's son, eldest son.
Yeah, Satyavati's son. Satyavati was given this son by Parashar Muni. We know that. And then so that was the oldest son. And then he was approached, said, this is time of emergency, I need your help, because there's no one to become the king. So the first, so all these daughter-in-laws of Satyavati were, asked. Satyavati personally requested, this is a time of emergency, Apad Dharma. And in Apad Kalin Sthiti, this kind of Sthiti times, you can, you need to think about the progeny. So she agreed, and then we know that Vyasdev came, and then Pandu was born from Ambika, and from Ambalika, who was born?
Dhritarashtra.
Dhritarashtra. Then Ambika was asked to, Ambika was again asked, because Satyavati was told that she was not going to have, good sons. One was like not normal sons. They will be handicapped in some way. Like first one would be blind. Second one would be very, very pale and weak. Powerful, but will not be very healthy. And then the second, and therefore she requested Ambika again. But what Ambika did was, Ambika, instead of again going to Vyasdev, because she was in so much, she was scared in the first attempt also, first time. She chose one very, very beautiful Dasi, it's mentioned in the Mahabharata that she was just like Apsara. She was very, very beautiful. And so she was approached and she agreed. And when Vyasdev came, she served Vyasdev very, very nicely. And Vyasdev was very, very pleased with her service. And then Vyasdev actually gave the son, and that son is known as
Vidur.
Vidur, correct, yeah. So yes, that's what we know about Yamaraj. Yamaraj was born as Vidur. Anything else we know about Yamaraj? About the family? Anything about the family?
He is the son of Surya, brother of Kalindi, Yamuna.
Yeah. So we have discussed that. So son of Surya Dev and brother of Kalindi, correct. Anything else? Anything else that you know?
Vidur was very qualified, intelligent.
Yeah, Vidur was very, very, as Yamaraj's incarnation, Vidur was very, very qualified, and we know that, yes, he was someone whom Lord Krishna actually remembered when Lord Krishna was leaving this world. When he was departing, Lord Krishna remembered Vidur. Lord Krishna said to Uddhav that, so he was remembering, and when later on Vidur met Uddhava, and Vidur wanted to know what Lord Krishna had spoken, and then he said, Lord Krishna had remembered you and said, you'll need to go to whom to get knowledge?
Maitreya Muni.
You'll need to go to Maitreya Muni, and Maitreya Muni will give you instruction. So yes, so he went to Maitreya Muni, Maitreya Rishi, and the Maitreya Rishi gave instructions to Vidur, and those are all given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And one great thing that we see in Vidur is, anything that you see in Vidur, that's his greatness.
He instructed Dhritarashtra.
Very nice, yeah. He was always guiding Dhritarashtra to act properly and to be fair to both the parties, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. And then what happened is, he was not very fair to the Pandavas, we know that. But still Duryodhana did not, speak to him nicely, with very, very harsh words. He insulted Vidur. Vidur went to for Tirath Yatra to go to different places of pilgrimage. And then when he returned, he still was thinking of Dhritarashtra. He went to see Dhritarashtra, but for what purpose? Wanted to deliver him. So he wanted to deliver him. So that's why he went to him. And anything else that we know about Yamaraj? So there's more stories. There's one verse, very nice verse about Yamaraj. This is from Padma Puran. Dharmaraja namastestu. Dharmaraja namastestu. Dharmaraja namastestu. Te dakshinashaya te tubhyam namo mahish vahan. So praise to the Dharmaraj or Yamaraj. So praying to the Yamaraj, and he is the controller of which disha? Dakshinaya. Which disha?
South.
South. He's the one who controls the south, and he is, what is his vahan? What is his carrier?
Buffalo.
Buffalo, correct. Yeah. Mahish vahan. Tubhyam namo mahish vahan. So he's got the vahan is buffalo, correct? Yeah, that's a vahan. And It is, he has got a very, very hard job now because especially if you think about now currently, there's so many people, about 5.2 million people have just died because of this pandemic COVID. And 5.2 million, that's more than the population of New Zealand. And now we have got another variant, which is called
Omicron.
Omicron. So one thing is good is the name is good because at least people get a chance to chant
Om.
Om Tat Sat. In the Bhagavad Gita, there's Om Tat Sat Nirdesho. So at least they get a chance to chant Om, Omicron, Omicron. So that's beneficial in one way. So, but Yamaraj is quite busy now these days because he has to look after so many people. So many people are going to the Yamlok. So but he's very, very expert at his work. Is very, very expert, and it's not like he's not like the judges in this world who make decisions, and it takes so long to make decisions. He's very, very expert in making decisions, and he's very, 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 very intelligent as well. Very intelligent. So how do you know that he's very, very intelligent? Any stories that you remember where he is giving nice instructions?
The
He
story
gave
that
instruction to Dhritarashtra.
Hiranyaksha was killed.
Yes, Madhav Sevadas, bro.
When Hiranyaksha was killed, Hiranyakashipu told a story about Yamaraj.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. That's a very nice one. So yes, correct. So we know that when Hiranyaksha was killed, what happened is and the wife of Hiranyaksha and all the children and the mother of Hiranyaksha. Who's the mother? Hiranyaksha.
Diti.
So there was so much of distress. They were in so much of distress. So now Hiranyakashipu is preaching to them, and he was very good at preaching, but he did not practice it. So he was a good preacher, Hiranyakashipu. So he gave one example. So when he was trying to pacify them, he said, wanted to free them from this lamentation. So he spoke about one king who had died while fighting. And what was the name of the king? Suyagya? Was it Suyagya? Yes, Suyagya. And then he had died, and then his wives were so, they did not want to give the body for cremation. And it was delaying, and the time was, going for the cremation. So then Yamaraj came as a little child. Yamaraj came as a little child and gave so much wonderful instructions as a Bal Vakta, as a young Pracharak, that the preaching actually made sense to all the wives of King Suyagya, and their mind changed, and then said, they allowed the cremation to take place. So this is the story spoken by Hiranyakashipu, and that shows how intelligent Yamaraj is, and Yamaraj is a great preacher as well. Anything else? So as Vidur, he's nice preacher. He preaches to Dhritarashtra, correct? And we can see he's also preaching to the wives of Suyagya, the queens. That shows his preaching skills. And Prabhupada said, preaching is very, very important, and we can learn from Yamaraj, how to preach. And Prabhupada said one of the important things is, Prabhupada said four very important things. So he said, preaching is the essence. And what are the three other things that he said?
Utility is the principle.
Utility is the principle.
Books are the basis and purity is the force.
Books are the basis and purity is the force.
Is the force.
Purity is the force. That means one has to be pure, and then that will penetrate, into the hearts. When the preaching, when one is pure, then the preaching will penetrate into the hearts of the people, and it will bring about the change. So preaching is the preaching is the purity is the force. So purity can come. How does the purity come? By
The devotional service. The devotional service.
By practicing what you're preaching.
Yeah, correct. And also the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Ram, Ram, Hare.
And also practicing what you are preaching, correct? Yeah. Thank you, Mukesh Prabhu. And so that's the importance of purity is the force. And how do you preach? Then preaching is the essence. Then preach from the books are the
Basics.
books are the
Books are the basis.
So yeah, so those are very important principles. So preaching is the essence, and we can learn this from Yamaraj. And so Yamaraj is a great preacher. And any other time when we see that he's preaching so nicely,
To Yamdutas,
yeah, very nice. Yeah,
whom to bring and whom to not.
yeah, very nice. Yeah, he's preaching so nicely to the Yamdutas, and he's giving instructions on who can be brought to him. And of course, that the instruction had come. The instruction was given. Now you have to go and get this very, very sinful person, and his name is Ajamil. So, but the Yamdutas went. We know that, but Yamdutas couldn't bring this sinful Ajamil, because Ajamil had chanted the name of
Narayan.
Narayan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So please, if you are not when you're not speaking, please put your microphone on mute, and then when you're speaking, then you just do unmute it, because then otherwise you'll have too much of background noise. Hare Krishna. And so yes, Ajamil was to be taken to the abode of Yamaraj, but we know that the Vishnu Yamdutas were stopped. Yamdutas, we were discussing in the Padma Puran that Yamdutas are what kind of people? Not Padma Puran, Garud Puran. What kind of people we can become Yamdutas?
They are the Pitras, those who nobody giving them, doing Sharad for them.
Yeah. Those people who have been there for a long time, suffering all the punishment in the abode of Yamaraj, all the different kinds of punishment, they go again and again, but there's no one to do Shrad for them. So those people are given this job of Yamaraj, sorry, Yamdutas. So they become Yamdutas. So Yamdutas are accepted on this basis. For they've been there for a long time, so they are trying to go and collect people from different places. So then we can see that they are so nicely given instructions by Yamaraj on the importance of holy name and who to bring, who not to bring. So we can learn so much from this the conversation between Yamaraj and all the Yamdutas. Yes, very nice. Anything? Any other? Another time we can see that the preaching skills of Yamaraj. You know that when Yudhishthira.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, we can't hear you.
Muted again, Prabhuji. You got muted again somehow.
We can't hear you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Getting muted. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
The voice is very, very low, Prabhuji. You unmuted, but the voice is extremely low. Muted again.
Stayed muted. It says host had muted you.
It's okay now. We can hear you now, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah, it says host had muted. So I got muted as well. So Hare Krishna. So yes, when they were living in when they were in the forest, we know that the 5 Pandavas were living in the forest. They were in exile before the battle took place. So the 5 Pandavas, one of the they were very, very thirsty, and we know that first Nakul went to drink water, to get some water. And there was a place where there was one yaksha, and yaksha said, "Do not drink the water. You have to answer my questions." And he did not. He just was so thirsty, he wanted to drink, and then he just fell dead. And then the next one, Sahadev went. Same thing happened. He did not answer the question. And then who went next? Arjuna went. The same thing happened. And then Bhima went. Same thing. He tried to drink the water and take the water, and then Yaksha said, "No, you don't touch the water. You don't drink the water. You can take the water, but you have to first answer my questions." And then the Yaksha said that all of them were lying there dead. And then Yudhishthir came. Then Yudhishthir said, "Where's my brothers?" And then Yudhishthir goes there, and then Yudhishthir sees that all of them were dead there. And then what did Yudhishthir do? Yudhishthir just was very, very confused. Why? How can this happen? Because they're so powerful. My brothers are so powerful. How can someone kill Bhima? How can someone kill Arjuna? So he's so powerful. And then what happened is Yudhishthir come there. When Yudhishthir arrives there, Yudhishthir sees that. And then Yudhishthir went closer to the water. He thought, "I'll just drink some water and then I'll think about what to do about this." And then the Yaksha said, "Stop." And then we know that there was a conversation. Yaksha said, "You'll have to answer all my questions." And then Yudhishthir answered all the questions. And then Yaksha said, was very, very pleased with him. Yaksha said, "Now you can choose which brother you will want alive." And what did he say? Whose
All
son?
of them?
Nakul or Sahadev?
Yeah. So he wanted only he wanted Madri's son, one of the sons. And then Dharmaraj asked, "Why do you want you? Because you have got such powerful brothers, Arjuna and Bhima. Why do you want the other ones to be alive? One of the other ones to be alive?" And what did he say?
Out of the 2 mothers, one of the sons is alive for one mother, so the other mother should have also a son alive.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Because he said, "This is Dharma." And he said, "I'm not interested in anything in the Dharma. If you protect the Dharma, then Dharma will protect you." And he, Dharma means, being equal to everyone. And so he gave spoke very nicely. And then we know that the Yaksha was very pleased, and Yaksha said, "You will have all your brothers back, So, and then all of them became alive. And then he revealed his identity, that I am who?
Dharmaraj.
Yeah, I am Dharmaraj. I am Dharmaraj. And so he was, we can see him asking so many wonderful questions. Very, very nice questions.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So, because during that time Vidur was already present. So was that original Yamaraj, or was it his replacement? Aniyama, I think. Replacement.
So according, if we look at that conversation between Yaksh and Yaksh and Yudhishthir, he says that at the end that you are my son, right? So one of the things that he says, that you are my son, you have been born from me. Yamaraj says to him, how was he his son? How was Yudhishthir his son?
Yeah, Kunti asked for the Yamaraj.
Yeah. Kunti had the mantra, and he could call all the devatas to have a son. So Yamaraj was called And the Yamaraj gave the son Yudhishthir. So he said, you are my son. And he also said that you are, that Vidur is my answer. He says there. So he says, Yudhishthir is my answer there. He says there in Mahabharata. And then we also know that there are, if you look at, Bhagavatam, the third canto, he says the Vidur was born as a, Yamaraj was born as Vidur. So if Vidur is, Yamaraj is born as Vidur, then it will be the person who was holding that position of Yamaraj, and it will be Aryama, right? So, and like, for example, Yamaraj, we're talking about Yamaraj. So Yamaraj, for example, when we, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is mentioned that Yamaraj was married to the daughters of who? Whose daughters? First Yamaraj is married to, first it was in the Swayambhu Manvanta, he was married to the daughters of Daksh. He was married to the daughters of Daksh, and he was married to, it's mentioned that Dharma had 13 daughters out of the, how many daughters that he had? 16 daughters. 13 out of 16 were married to Yamaraj. And which Manvanta is that? Swayambhu Manvanta. And in that Manvanta, Lord actually appeared as the son of Dharmaraj. What was the name of the son of the Lord? Lord appeared as the son of Dharmaraj. Murti and, does anyone know?
Murti and Dharma.
Murti and Dharma, and who are the sons?
Narayan.
Correct. Narayan. So in that, that Yamaraj in the Swayambhu Manvanta had a son, and that's Lord as the son. And in the 6th Manvanta, the Yamaraj, so 6th Manvanta, the Yamaraj was married to how many daughters of Daksh, because Daksh had 60 daughters. And how many were married to Dharmaraj? 10 of them. 10 of them. So that's another Dharmaraj. So every Manvanta there is a new Yamaraj. And similarly, in this Manvanta, if you look at it, so it's mentioned that Vidur, this Manvanta, of course, this current Manvanta. So Yamaraj is coming as Vidur. So yeah, at the position is holder of the position is the Yamaraj at that time. Ruzaryama, yeah. Anything else? Anything else that we know about Yamaraj? Anything else? So he's a great preacher. He's a very, very challenging job. It's a very hard job. Is it an easy job, you think? To be a Vaishnava and to be giving punishment to people. To be looking after all the punishment. To be looking after the prison house and to be in the temple. Is it easy?
No.
Yeah, so but
No.
Yamaraj is able to do it so nicely. So he's able to do it so nicely. Anything else that we know about Yamaraj? We have
assisted by Chitragupta.
Yeah, he is assisted by Chitragupta. Chitragupta is the one who keeps all the record of all the sinful people. So he is being helped by Chitragupta as well. That's correct. And the other thing that Skanda Puran mentions about Yamaraj actually is we know that we just had a Kartik month. In Kartik month, we have this 15 days, Krishna Paks and Sukla Paks, like Pratipa, Prada, and Dvitya, Tritya, Chaturthi, Panchami, Shashti, Saptami, Ashtami, Navami, Dasami, and Ekadasi, Dwadasi, Trayodasi, Chaturdasi, and then we have Amavasya. Amavasya is Deepavali, right? And then the next day after Deepavali, what's the celebration that we have?
Govardhan.
Govardhan. And then the next day after that is?
Bhai
Bhai
Dooj.
Dooj.
Yeah, Yam Dvitya or Bhai Dooj. Yam Dvitya. And according to Skanda Puran, this is the day on which the brother and sister meet. So the brother goes to whose place? The brother is Yamaraj, and Yamaraj goes to which place?
Kalindi's Yamuna.
Kalindi's place, and Kalindi does all the cooking and prasadam and everything. And this is a very, very special day, Yam Dvitya. Like this is Dvitya, second day, but it is the Sukla Paksh of Kartik, the second day. So that's another thing that we learn in this about Yamaraj. Anything else that you know? Who's the mother of Yamaraj, of the current Yamaraj? Who's the mother? Who's the wife of Suryadev? So think about it. And anything else that we okay, just next few minutes. Huh?
As Vidur, expression of devotion when he fed the banana peels to Lord Sri Krishna.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. So he is, as the Vidur, he's a great devotee of the Lord, and Lord actually did not accept all the great feast, the Chapan Bhog of Duryodhana, but went to Vidura's place and had a just simple meal, simple prasadam. And we can see, of course, there's nice stories about it. So yes, very nice. We can see a devotion of Vidur. And yeah, that's one of the things that we learn. So now the next few minutes we will just quickly discuss, and then we'll have time for questions. Next few minutes. So what did we learn today? What do we learn from Yamaraj? What can we learn from Yamaraj?
The first and foremost thing we learned, Prabhuji, was that Yamaraj is extremely knowledgeable, and he upholds dharma in every situation, no matter how hard it is.
Yeah, very
An
nice.
example was the Yashkas, when his brothers were killed.
So very nice. He's a very great personality, and he, of course, he also knows the topmost dharma, and we can see when he preaches his servants, his associates, the Yamdutas. He knows the topmost dharma as well. Of course, the dharma also, the normal dharma plus the topmost dharma, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma. He knows that as well. Anything else that we have learned? So
if we chant Lord's name, Yamaraj will not come.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yamaraj has already declared that anyone who chants the name, that's not under my control. Yes, very nice. That's we can see in this Ajamil Katha. He is under the control of the Vishnu Dutas. Anything else that we learn? Anything else that we learn from this about Yamaraj?
Prabhuji came in saying humility when he was cursed to take bond because he made a wrong decision. He accepted that curse.
Yeah, actually, it's very nice point. It's he looks like he has made a wrong decision, but the great personalities like Yamaraj, it was a decision which actually is arrangement of the Lord in this case, because if you look at 100 years on earth, how much time is that in the Pitralok? It's a very short time, right? It's just a very short time. It's just like some number of days. So very short time, and he comes, and then we know that the very special arrangement of the Lord, that he got to see the Lord directly, and also Lord Krishna directly. And what else? And he got association of Maitreya Muni, who was there at the time of when Lord Krishna was departing. And what else? So sometimes there is, he's inspired to. Generally, he's not making any mistakes, but in this case, it's a divine arrangement where he gets a chance to, because otherwise, if Yamaraj starts making mistakes, then it will be a problem. Sometimes there is other things that he wants to show, and it looks like he's making mistakes, like even in the Ajamil Katha. But he had some purpose. Yeah. Anything else?
One of the important points you mentioned, Prabhu, is just if you protect Dharma, Dharma will protect you.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, and there's a very nice Dharma. There's a verse also in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Mahabharata. It says, "Dharma eva hato hanti, dharmo rakshati rakshitaha, tasma dharma ta na tyajyami, mano dharmo hato abravit." So he says that if one destroys the dharma, then one will be destroyed by the dharma, and one who protects the dharma will be protected by dharma. So that's a very nice verse. Yeah, very nice. Anything else that we learn? Anything else that we learn? We can see that he is able to perform this role so nicely. Like he is, like Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, "Tasma sarvesu kalesu ma manusmara yudhyecha." Do your duty of fighting, and at the same time, "Tasma sarvesu kal ma manusmara yudhyecha." Remember me while fighting, while doing the yudh. And so we can see Yamaraj is a Mahajan, and he is able to do his work so nicely. Of course, he has been given that kind of work to do, but he does it so nicely, and he's still a devotee. And we can see when he speaks. Anything else? Anything else that we learned?
We learned how the festival of Bhai Dooj originated.
Yeah, very nice. That's from Skanda Puran. Skanda Puran, how the festival of Bhai Dooj started. It's Yam Dvitya, on the Yam Dvitya, when Yamunaji and Yamaraj, Yamaraj goes to the sister's place. And we can see one sister, if you look at Yamaraj is giving punishment, and the sister is
Living messy.
Yes, sister is delivering people. So delivering people with the mercy. So both of them are very, very compassionate. And we can see in another story we probably missed, that Lord Krishna even goes to Yamlok. Why does Lord Krishna go to Yamlok? That might be a question. Why does he go?
He went to bring his guru's son.
Yeah, he went to his Lord Krishna went to his to the Yamlok, and he blew his conch shell named
Panchajanya.
And then he went to get his guru's Sandipani Muni's son. He went to Yamlok as well. Lord Krishna went there as well. Okay, just the next few minutes. Any questions? Anyone has got any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Prabhu, you mentioned about the conversation between Yamaraj and the Yamdutas.
Yes, Prabhu.
Can you elaborate a little more? Because there Yamaraj was asked what is Dharma, and by the Yamdutas, and then Yamaraj explained what is Dharma.
Yeah. So Dharma is that which is given by the Lord So there's a verse in which is explaining what dharma is, and so the verse is that what is dharma?
Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam.
Yeah, very nice. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. So dharma is that which is coming from the Lord directly. So that's dharma. And he talks about what dharma is. So, and it's very, very hard, he says, to know dharma. But the thing is, we all of us know what dharma is. And if you look at Mahabharata, it says, Tarko pratishta shrutayo vibhinna. Tarko pratishta. Tarka, there is no, one cannot come to a conclusion by tarka. Tarka means?
Argument? Argument? Or
Yeah, argument or tarka, by just false argument or just Shrutayo Vivinna. So the thing is, one cannot come to a conclusion by tarka, but then one should know that the Shastra is, the word of the Lord. So, ya Shastra Vidhi Musrigya Vardhate Kamakarta, Nasa Siddhim Avapnati, Na Sukham Na Paramgati. Lord Krishna says this. One who neglects the injunctions of the scriptures and acts whimsically for them, there is no happiness, no supreme destination, and no perfection. So, but there is Shrutiyo Vivinna. There is a lot of scriptures, many scriptures. So, and every sage has got his own way of explaining these things. So, but how do you know the dharma, tattva of dharma? The tattva of dharma can we know? Dharmasya tattvam guhitam niha. The guhya, it is hidden in the hearts of the great souls. And who are these great souls? They are Mahajanas. Mahajano Enagatha Sapantha. So he talks about the supreme dharma, which is coming from the Lord. And he says, we know, and then he explains the dharma. Of course, the dharma is the topmost dharma is, of course, loving devotion to the Lord. So he explains all these things very, very nicely. And he talks about the holy name as well. And we know that in this age of Kali, that the best mantra is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
For example, Ananta Samhita, it's mentioned that in the Satyuga, people were chanting this mantra, Narayana Paraveda, Narayana Paraksha, Narayana Para Mukti, Narayana Paragati. And in the Treta Yuga, Rama Narayana Ananta Mukunda Madhusudana, Krishna Kesava Kamsare, Hare Vaikunta Vamana. And in the Dwapar Yuga, Hare Murare, Madhukaitavare, Gopala Govinda, Mukunda Sore, Yagesha Narayana Krishna Vishnu, Nirashrayam Mama Jagadish Raksha. And now in this age, so that in Ananta Samhita, all these four are given together. And in Kali Yuga, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Ram, Ram. Anything else, Prabhuji? Or, yes, I think Nalini can't Prabhu, you speak something. I couldn't read properly. So, yes, Nalini can't Prabhu, you wanted to ask something?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my respect.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for full class, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, so those who lived in Pitruloka for so long, because there is no Shraddha, so they are serving pure devotee of the Lord. So they all eventually become, they get chance to be liberated and become devotee.
So they are associating with Yamaraj, but they are associating with Yamaraj not as for him as a devotee, but they are associating just one who gives punishment. So even if someone associates with a devotee, if they don't associate with the right kind of attitude or mentality, then they don't get delivered. So we know he's a great personality, and we know that lot of people associated with Bhishma, a lot of people associated with even at Krishna's time, there were so many people. A lot of people were, but they were what were they? They were envious of Krishna. Even Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So if one associates with the devotee with the right for their deliverance, then they'll get delivered. But these Yamdutas are actually, they're saving the Yamaraj, but in just as a job, not for deliverance. But those who are instructed by Yamaraj, then they are actually fortunate. But not all of them get delivered, because this is this Ajamil Katha is happened. That Ajamil Katha, but not all Yamaraj, not all the time you'll have a Ajamil Katha like that. So not all of them get delivered. So some of them are especially fortunate because they get the right kind of guidance by Yamaraj, but they need to be inquisitive to get purified.
Thank you. How do they get delivered then, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
How do they get delivered?
The thing is, it's mentioned when Lord Krishna went there with the conch shell in blue, and a lot of people got delivered at that time. At that time, a lot of people got delivered, and so sometimes they will be taking another birth, and they will get even. You're talking about are you especially
Pitru.
Or especially those you're talking about
people
ancestors get if someone becomes a devotee in that then they can deliver many generations. So they can deliver many generations with some sort of also some mercy also. Sometimes some people get some mercy when the light, of course, when the Lord comes, Lord went to deliver so many of them, and in this way sometimes they can get some mercy also. But sometimes it can take quite a long time for people to get delivered. They get to the Yamlok and they come back and they go to different life, take different births. But the Yamaraj doesn't punish the animals. Animals don't have to go to Yamlok. Animals are out of Yamaraj doesn't control them. They get the birth straight away.
I just wanted to clarify one thing. I think there was a bit of mix-up between Yamadutas and people in the Pitralokas. Yamadutas, correct me if I'm wrong, Prabhuji, are those who went to hell or in Yamloka, but there were no offerings made by their ancestors. People left behind. Pitraloka is kind of a pious people who will go to Pitraloka.
Pitraloka is like the transit lounge. Transit. So they're waiting for the Shraddha to be offered to them, and or someone getting becoming a devotee, and so somehow they get delivered. Yeah, they're in the waiting list. They're more close to being in the Swargaloka.
Exactly my point, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Yes, I think my problem. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, just sorry, your answer to the previous, like a few questions prior about, I didn't catch the answer, so I just wanted some clarification. So about the conversation between Yudhishthira Maharaj and Yaksha, right? And then that Yaksha was Yamaraj mentioned. And then Vidur is also Yamaraj. So I didn't catch the answer that you gave. What was?
So what I was saying is, Yudhishthira became, what do you have? Yamaraj became, what do you have? Vidur,
Yaksha.
right?
Vidur, yeah.
Vidur. And Yamaraj was also speaking to Yudhishthir as a yaksh, and he actually revealed his identity that I am Dharmaraj, your father. He said to Yudhishthir. And so what we were saying is that Yaksha was Dharmaraj. And sometimes what happens is at that time, because Vidur was already there, so someone else was, Vidur had taken birth and he was the incarnation of Yamaraj. So someone else was looking after that position also.
Right, yes, okay.
Someone else was temporarily looking after the affairs of Yamaraj, and he's also Yamaraj.
Yes,
like
yes,
Brahma is a position, Yamaraj is a position, Manu is a position. Every Manvanta, there are 6 divisions. So Manu is 1 division, sons of Manu, 2nd division, Indra, 3rd, other demigods, 4th, Sapta Rishis, 5th, and Manvantara are the 6 divisions of universal management. So one of that is like Devatas, and that includes Yamaraj. So every Manvanta, there has to be a different Yamaraj. So someone will be holding the position, just like Nahush Maharaj was acting, but Nahush Maharaj was Indra when he was holding the position. Because we know that Nahush had to become the Indra. He was a king on this earth, but he had to become the Indra. And because the Indra was cursed because of, he was cursed by Agastya Rishi. We know that story. He was cursed to become a?
Yes.
He cursed to become a Ajgar. And that Ajgar, of course, was delivered later on. But we see that Indra position was held by Nahush Maharaj. So he was performing the role of Indra. Everything that Indra did, he did. Similarly here, another person is looking after that position.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the clarification. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, one more. We can take one more question. I think Vishaka Gopi Mataji had hand up.
Yes, Vishaka Gopi Mataji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna Prabhu, but you've answered my question. I wanted to know if Yamaraj is a position, but you've just answered when Nitya Gopal Prabhu asked your question, so that's fine. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. We'll ask Vishaka Gopi and Vishnupati Mataji to give a word of thanks.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Very nice, wonderful, interactive class with your erudite knowledge. You have touched upon many relevant incidents of Yamaraj and how he is a good preacher and how he, as Vidura, gave instructions to Dhritarashtra, and also as he's upholds Dharma, and he preaches to the Yamdutas, a small incident of Ajamil. So thank you. We got to know many things and the lineage of Yamaraj as well. And you also touched upon how Prabhupada, in the preaching essence, how Prabhupada said that books are the basis and purity is the force, preaching is the essence. So we would really like to thank you for all this knowledge which you have imparted, and would request you if you could come more often in this session and enlighten us. So thank you on behalf of Auckland ISKCON. I would like to thank you very much for this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji, and thank you all the wonderful devotees for your association. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai.
His guest Madhav Govind Prabhu ki jai.
So next we'll have is the Singha prayer. Oh, thank you very much. We'll have next Singha prayer.
Thank you, Nandaresh Prabhu. Now we have got